Okay. What is a YouTube HPJ here? And I am coming at you guys this time with uh, a date to Sky Striker. So Sky Striker is an amazing deck. It's not as amazing as it used to be. And it does have its own unique setups to it. Now, with the loss of, what is it? The loss of Engage, but the addition of a second arc. I mean, yeah, not arc, anchor. You can easily say this is kind of one of those decks that it doesn't stand out, but when it stands out, it does stand out. I hope that makes sense because it made sense to me. But we're here for the deck profile, so why don't we get into it so I don't waste any more time. So my lineup is as follows. We're going to start off with the monsters. I'm running 3 copies of the lovely Sky Striker Ace Ray. Followed by Ray are, of course, the 2 copies of Sky Striker Ace Rose. I'm still rocking out with 2 copies of Summoner Monk. Then I got a plethora of hand traps. I got 3 copies of the beautiful Ash Blossom, Joyous Spring, 2 copies of DD Crow, and 2 copies of Droll and Mockbird. So that's it for, the extra, as I said, the extra deck. For the main deck, in terms of its monsters. Now let's go on in terms of the spells. So for the Sky Striker spells, I'm running 2 copies of Sky Striker Widow Anchor. Then 2 copies of Sky Striker Area Zero. Actually, let me just make sure this is focused. There you go. 1 copy of Shark Cannon, 1 copy of Hornet Drone, 1 copy of Multi-Roll, 1 copy of Afterburner, 1 copy of Jamming Wave, 1 copy of Ego Booster, and 1 copy of Hercules Based. So, that's it for the spells, the Sky Striker spells. Then for the regular spells, I'm running 2 copies of Foolish Burial of Goods, followed by 2 copies of Mystic Mind, then 1 copy of Metal Foes Fusion, 1 copy of Double or Nothing, 1 copy of Pot of Avarice, 1 Upside Goblin, Mind Control, Reinforcement of the Army, Terraforming, and of course, Set Rotation. So that is it for the spells overall. And then for the trap cards, 3 copies of Infinity Impermanence. Alright, so that is it for the main deck for the Sky Strikers. That's a total of 40 cards together. Then for the extra deck, I'm running 3 copies of Shizuku, 3 copies of Kagari, 1 copy each of Zeka, Hayate, Kina. Then I'm running 1 Topologic Bomber Dragon, 1 Barrel Sword Dragon, and then of course the Utopia package, Utopia Double, Utopia Ray, Utopia the Lightning. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the main and the extra deck. Alright, so let's go over it. So of course, we gotta talk about the monsters. Now, if you don't have certain monsters, of course, Dual Overload and Deck Devastators, Dual Devastators came out. So there is a plethora of hand traps you can easily get for that. So before I go into Ray and them, of course, I am talking about Ash Blossom, DD Crow. Droll and Lockbird is actually from the Pendulum Magician structure. Well, I say Pendulum, but from the Endymion Spellcaster structure deck. So if you do have any of those, latch on to them. This is just a setup of, hand traps you can easily take advantage of. You can mix and match any hand traps that you want. You can throw in Effect Veiler. You can throw in Ghost Ogre. You can throw in Winter Chairs. You can throw in Bella. Whatever setup you want to use with Sky Striker, go for it. Because Striker can easily take itself as an anti-meta, but still be meta in its own sense. Alright, now that we've talked about our lovely hand traps, let's talk about the rest of the deck itself. So I'm running 3 copies of Ray with 2 copies of Rose. So even though both of these girls are standouts to the archetype itself, the main deck overall just consists of these 2 because it wants to fluctuate between its offensive and defensive setup. While Rose can come to the field and she can negate stuff, she can bring herself to the field when other Sky Strikers are normal special summon. It can lead you into some rank 4. Now, I did opt for Utopia because that just gives me a giant beat stick, or that can give me OTK. While we have Ray over here, who can set you up for your in and out when it comes to your extra deck monsters for Sky Striker. Because you can take her out, put in Kagari, put in Shizuku, put in Zeki. You have a range of everything you can put in between these two lovely ladies. And there really isn't, a downside to them. Now, some people will run 3 rows, some people will run 2, some people run 1. I'm kind of a mix between 1 and 2 just because I don't think the third one was really needed. Although 3 Ray is definitely needed because she is your go-to. Now, in case you don't get into Ray, you'll have the Rose for the backup. Now, let's talk about Summoner Monk. Monk is a monster that I am still playing around with Sky Striker, and I am enjoying every minute of it because Sky Striker plus Monk plus random Sky Striker can make rank 4. And that is never a downside in this deck because of how flexible the spells are. Because even if you drop a spell from Monk, there's one additional one additional card that helps for either Kagari or for Shizuku's effects. And then on top of that, you can easily set up your graveyard to where stuff like multi-roll can pop in again. And you can take advantage of that. And I didn't think Monk would ever be a downside to this. And I was actually questioning about summoning Monk soon. But now that I have Monk, I'm taking advantage of him as much as I possibly can. Unless something happens to Monk. But alright, we've talked about the monsters. Let's go on to these spells. So I'm running, of course, 2 heavy hits, which are Area Zero and Widow Anchor. Having double Widow Anchor means more control. Having Area Zero, I can select stuff to be popped. I can excavate for other Sky Striker cards and add them to my hand. It'll help me get to Ray, help me get to Rose. I can get to some of my other Sky Striker spells. I can blow up stuff that I don't need, and then if this is blown up, I can either get Ray or Rose. So I have easily, a great way to get to things. Thanks to Area Zero. Widow Anchor is control. Massive control. Take your opponent's monster, negate a monster's effect, 3 or more spells, take advantage, take that monster on your side of the field. You can get into a lot of your bigger link monsters with this. So, the double of it is pretty much like a double of mind control. Alright, then, let's go on to the others, which are just pretty much your standard sets. You have removal, you have Banish of the Grave, as well as Monster Snatch from Shark Cannon. So I was going to run in 2 Cannon, along with 2 of the Anchor and stuff like that. Then I'm running the 1 Drone, because Drone's at 1, but Drone is so flexible because it makes that token, and you can do crazy things with that token. Multi-roll, getting back the other spells, protecting your spells for the turn, and then getting rid of dead weight or getting rid of cards so that you can set up your graveyard and then get things set up already. Because you can retrieve the cards in your graveyard based on the number of spells you played that turn. Monster and spell removal in both forms of Afterburner and Jamming Wave, your defense and Eagle Booster, and then just for a bit of recovery, we do have, of course, Hercules Base. So that is it for all the Sky Striker spells. For the regular spells, I'm fluctuating between the 2 or 3 of Foolish Burial of Goods, whichever setup you want for it. It's pretty much just to send cards to the graveyard, and primarily you do get the advantage when you can send a card like Metal Foes Fusion to the graveyard, because Metal Foes can be sent. Once Metal Foes is in the graveyard, send it back to your deck and draw a card, so you just have some more draw power. You also can take advantage of Mystic Mind. Now, outside of these 2 and the whole Foolish thing, because I'll get back to Foolish in a minute, the Mystic Mind is here to help set up for control till you get yourself ready. And you can send this card off with something like, multi-roll, and then you can go from there. Because this is pretty much just stall. While Foolish Burial of Goods, because we can get back to that, just sends spells to the graveyard. It helps out with Kagari, it helps out with Shizuku. You can fetch things back, send things in just that overwhelming amount of power. Now, let's also talk about some more normal spells. We have Double or Nothing. This is pretty much in conjunction with Utopia Double, and then going into your OTK. Pot of Avarice for recovery for your hand traps if you need them, or Rose and Ray. Ustar Goblin for draw power, control with mind control. Search for reinforcement of the army. More search with terraforming. More control and search with set rotation. Give yourself the Mystic Mine, give your opponent area 0, or give yourself the area 0, give them the Mystic Mine, and set up there. And, like, that's pretty much it. Alright, so I talked about all the spells, and then we can go on to the one trap, and that's simply Infinity Impermanence, because I don't have evenly matches. And hey, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Sometimes we're not gonna be able to get every card we possibly can online. So, especially with this current situation going on, it was a lot difficult for me to find some of those. So, I just decided to opt out and go in. Well, I still have my infinity impermanences, and I just felt that was just an easier choice. It's a good hand trap overall, and it does a lot of neat things, especially with lockout and control. So that is it for the main. Then for the extra, triple Shizuku, triple Kagari. If anything was about a boss monster, it comes out of these two. Shizuku reduces the attack and defense of all your opponent's monsters based on the number of spell cards in your graveyard times 100. Kagari increases her attack by 100 times the number of spell cards in your graveyard. Benefits to both of these monsters. Shizuku can go get spells from your deck with Sky Striker in their name that's different from the ones in your graveyard. Kagari can pick up spells and Sky Striker cards from your graveyard and add it to your hand. So you can easily set up with one of the next monsters we're going to look at, and that is Hayate, who she can send Sky Striker cards to the graveyard. She can attack your opponent directly. And it's, like I said, this deck is easy with control, and that's pretty much what a lot of the extra deck monsters do. Then we have Zeki. Zeki is a monster that a lot of people are enjoying because of her negate, her removal, and then she can bump herself up, and then she can swing. She does all these crazy things with a lot of her abilities. And then Kina is pretty much here for the anti-burn. Gain 1,000 every time you play a spell, and it resolves, and then she can prevent a monster from attacking, if that ever becomes the case. So, that's it for them. Then I got two of my big heavy hitters, Tapologic Bomber Dragon, Barrel Sword Dragon. I got Anchor, I got Drone, I got Shark Cannon, uh, Mind Control. You got the works. You can easily go into some of these big things, and then you can get your board together from there. A lot of strategy comes into playing a lot of heavy, big monsters with Sky Striker. So with the amount of cards we can have in the extra deck, you take advantage of them as much as possible. Moving on from the two of them, and of course, is the last part of the deck in that extra deck, and that's the Utopia package, which is pretty much the Utopia double to snatch up double or nothing, go into Utopia. If that fails out, Utopia Ray into Utopia Lightning, who's just a giant beat stick with a ton of ammo. Because you can at least get 4 things under this monster. Monster can swing for 5,000. Can't swing at your opponent directly, but that's fine, because whenever it swings, it's going to make sure that your opponent can activate anything till the end of the damage step. And you want, till the end of damage calculation. And that is pretty much what you want when it comes to just dealing with a lot of big things and a lot of heavy hitters from your opponent. So, that is pretty much it for this deck profile, you guys. And I hope you all enjoy it, because I surely enjoy building it. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, for it helps out tremendously. And I, of course, will catch you guys next time. HDJ, signing out.